Stop listening to your feelings. When it comes to self-improvement, there's a time and a place for being in tune and listening to how you feel, and there's a time and a place for ignoring it and doing the fucking thing anyway. And what I see a lot is guys who self-sabotage their progress or prevent themselves from taking aligned action towards their goals because they are leaving things to chance, otherwise known as I'll see how I feel at the time. So today we'll explore how we can cultivate more discipline that will allow us to make better progress and feel more in control of our trajectory, whether our goal is health, physique, or any other self-improvement goal that you might be working towards. Firstly, I think it's important to define what we mean by feelings versus emotions because they are not the same thing. Emotions originate as sensations in the body. For example, if you experience the emotion of shame, most of us feel warmth and heat in our face and turn red. Anxiety, a lot of us feel in our stomach. Feelings are different. Feelings are influenced by our emotions, but they're generated from our thoughts. They're generated from the brain. So emotions come from the body. Feelings come from the brain. Think of emotions as raw data. We can't control them. We can't predict how and when they're going to show up. All we can do is improve our ability to label them and process them. Our feelings are our interpretation of that data through the lens of us, through our history, our beliefs, our values, our stories, our experience, and everything else. Two things can be true at the same time. You definitely should work on becoming more emotionally literate, especially if you are a midlife guy. We are the demographic most at risk of suicide, and I think we are the demographic in general who struggle to show up in an authentic, vulnerable way, which I think leads to a lot of men bottling up their emotions, which then leads to downstream consequences like destructive actions, which could be lashing out at other people, shouting, aggression, confrontation, or suicide. So in my mind, working on your emotions is not something that it's nice to do. It's something that is absolutely essential if you are a man in your 30s, 40s, 50s, or 60s. I know that for me, using the emotions wheel has been incredibly helpful for helping me process difficult emotions as they arise. I spoke about this at length on the podcast I did with my former coach, Ella Whitcomb-Khan, where when we were working together, we went through the process for a couple of months of me using that and keeping an emotions diary to capture the times when I was feeling strong emotions so that I was better able to articulate exactly what they were with more specificity, not just sadness, but loneliness, for example. And becoming better at knowing and feeling the sensations within my body. The value in doing that is because it creates separation, detachment between your emotions, your feelings, your thoughts, and you. I used to think that I was the emotion, the thought, the feeling, the narrator. But you are not the narrator. You are the person listening to the narrator. That detachment creates space, and in space, there is a decision and there is a choice. You can choose to process an emotion like anger with an action such as lashing out, or you can choose to process that emotion in a healthier way by letting it wash over you, by screaming into a pillow, by punching a pillow, or whatever else. It's okay to have the emotion of anger or sadness or grief or whatever. These are part of the human condition. But it's about how we process them, and being better at articulating them will make you better able to process them, but also create that space that allows you to take more aligned actions more regularly. But it is also true to say that we shouldn't always follow how we feel, because you can be in tune with your emotions and you can be able to identify them. That doesn't mean you always have to act on them. Real world example. You've got a workout plan tomorrow morning. The night before, the emotions you might be feeling are worry or fear or anxiousness. That could lead to feelings like, oh, I can't do it, or I don't want to go. For another person, the thought of a workout in the morning might generate emotions of excitement or eagerness or curiosity. I wonder how it will go. That could lead to feelings of, I'm looking forward to it. I'm motivated. I'm going to enjoy it. But if you only ever listen to how you feel in the moment and act on that, you're not going to end up making the progress you want to towards your goals. Because this shit is difficult, right? If it wasn't, everybody would be doing it. We'd all be walking around 10% body fat, jacked, loving life with the biological age of someone 20 years younger. But we're not, because it's difficult. And it's much easier to take the easier route in life. Sit on the sofa, not do any exercise, eat shit food. Yeah, it will make you feel crap, but in the moment, it's much, much easier. If I only trained when I really felt like training, I'd have done about 20 workouts last year, not pretty much 5 days a week. And if I only ate nutritious, healthy meals when I really wanted them, I'd be eating way more pizza and fries than I do. So there are times to be in tune with your emotional state at work, at home, when you're processing difficult or even positive experiences. But there are also times when you should tune out how you feel and focus solely on what you know you want to and should be doing. And by should, I do not mean what you feel you should be doing due to somebody else's priority, but what you should do because you have said that these things align to your values and your ideal future state and future life. I've just finished Brad Stulberg's new book, The Way of Excellence, and it is superb. I would highly recommend it. 10 out of 10. And in the book, he talks about the qualities that make up excellence, one of which is discipline. And he says, I quote, "A common misconception is that the best performers are always motivated and inspired. That couldn't be further from the truth. Olympians, award-winning artists, and successful entrepreneurs do not wake up every morning raring to go. They struggle just as much as the next person not to hit the snooze button. We think we need to feel good to get going, but often the opposite is true. We need to get going to give ourselves a chance at feeling good. The challenge is mustering enough energy to get going on the things that matter to us, even when we don't feel like it." I love that quote. We need to get going to give ourselves a chance of feeling good. It's very resonant with something Tim Ferriss says, that it's easier to act your way into a new way of thinking rather than think your way into a new way of acting. And the sentiment is exactly the same. If you sit there waiting for motivation to hit, you'll be waiting a very long time. If you take action, even when you don't really feel like it, that is what builds emotional investment, reinforces the identity of the person you were trying to be, and that is what builds motivation and allows you to make progress. Jocko Willink wrote an excellent no-nonsense book called Discipline Equals Freedom. But what does that actually mean? There's a quote from Serena Williams that says that discipline is doing what needs to be done, even when you don't want to do it. The reason that discipline equals freedom is because it takes away so much mental chatter and clutter from your brain. Less decision fatigue, more alignment between the actions you take and your future state identity, more intentionality, more fulfillment, and more progress towards your goals. That's why discipline equals freedom. Because without discipline, you're leaving things to chance. And when you're leaving things to chance, when you've got work commitments, family commitments, a social life, hobbies, interests, if you leave your self-improvement goals as the last priority in that list, you will not make the progress you want to. And the reason this matters is because that future state version of you, they are free. They are free from worrying about fat gain. They are free from worrying about long-term illness and disease. They are free from worrying about the quality of their relationships or their career because they feel confident, calm, and in control of all of those things because of the work that they are doing in the here and now. And that can be you too, because just like everything else, discipline is a skill that you can train and improve. It is simply putting a constraint on whether or not you start, whether or not you take an action, because you already committed to it. You don't wait to feel a certain way to get started. You just do it. That's why I get to the gym 5 or 6 days a week. And I'm not saying that to give me a gold star, because I'm nothing special. Yes, my gym is only 5 minutes down the road, which makes it easier. But even if it wasn't, I would still be in there regularly. And it's not because I'm special or I've got some superhuman level of motivation. It's not because I listened to an hour of gym hype playlist beforehand to summon up the willpower to get going. Although, by the way, that playlist is absolutely sick. So definitely get on it if you like hip hop, electronic music, rave, and all of that. It's because I've normalized the idea that the version of me that I want to be gets up and gets out the house and goes to train, whether I feel like it or not. And there are days when I open the door and it's pissing down with rain, it's dark and it's cold. I don't just close the door and go back to bed. I've already taken away the decision. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Therefore, I do it. Therefore, I make the progress I want to. And the same is true for the guys who excel within the Mind and Matter Method community as well. This is not about 4 a.m. wake ups or grind mentality Instagram reels. It's just quietly aligning your actions to your commitments. That is it. Discipline is not just getting the workout done or not eating shit food. It's also about setting the foundations for future success and aligned action. So discipline is following your food shopping plan and not being distracted by the 3 for 2 on Toblerones, or taking 30 minutes every Sunday to plan your meals for the following week. Or it's putting your workouts in your calendar and keeping your gym bag in the car so you're not leaving things to chance. Or it's reviewing your progress every week and reflecting on what you've learned and how you can make the following week even better. So yes, it's the workouts and it's the nutrition, but it's also everything else that goes into making that happen. Just like I talked about in the episode about environment and logistics and planning and how you don't need more motivation. What I notice a lot is people say, okay, I'll try to do that. But in the words of Yoda, do or do not. There is no try. You either do the thing or you don't. And the more you leave your actions to how you feel in the moment, the more you are fixated on thinking about doing rather than just doing. Imagine how much decision fatigue you could take away and eradicate if you just commit to and follow through on what you plan to do. Cultivating our ability to do difficult things is important to self-growth and leading the kind of life you want to live. That's what builds anti-fragility, confidence, self-belief, and that calm assuredness that allows you to show up as the guy that you want to be. And I am not saying that if you're struggling to get 1 or 2 workouts in this week, then next week you need to have the discipline to be in the gym every day. Or you're struggling with snacking after 8 p.m. and there's some complex emotional attachment to food that you need to just have the discipline to cut out from next week. But what I am saying is you can become more disciplined and you have the agency to train that skill just like you train your muscles or your heart in the gym. And the way you do that is by starting small. I've covered this extensively on how to set yourself up for success. You've got all the tools you need to plan and make your environment work for you. I scripted this on Wednesday. It's now Friday when I'm recording it. I've had a busy, stressful week. And in fact, I've had a really stressful February, if I'm going to be perfectly honest about it and if I'm going to be authentic and vulnerable. But I would usually record on a Wednesday. I didn't because I decided I couldn't be asked. I didn't want to put on a nice t-shirt. I always like to wear one of my nice t-shirts for these now I'm on video. And also because I don't go out very often, so I don't get much opportunity to wear all my best clothes. I didn't want to do my hair. I couldn't be asked making myself look pretty, quite frankly. So I thought I'm going to intentionally procrastinate on this till Friday. Procrastination in and of itself is not a problem if it's an intentional choice. But I've also made a commitment to myself that I'm going to record a podcast every week. Okay, it's imperfectly consistent. I don't do it every single week, but unless there's some mitigating circumstance like I'm off for the week, I should be recording. Even when I don't really have the energy and I've got less time. The discipline here is not only that I'm now recording the podcast on Friday morning, it's that I made today so much easier because on Wednesday, I wrote down all my thoughts about this. I captured the quotes that I wanted to mention and I turned it into something coherent so that today I was able to just open the document, open Riverside and record. And on Wednesday, I didn't just leave this to chance. I didn't just think, I'll see how I feel and I might do that script later in the day. I didn't have my phone in the room with me. I had a time block in my daily planner that said script bullets for podcast. So that is what I did. That is having the discipline to make my environment work for me, removing distractions, focusing on the thing I needed to do. Did I feel like doing it? No. Do I feel like recording this now? No. I woke up at 3:45 this morning. I'm absolutely exhausted. I'm stressed out. I woke up with busy mind. I couldn't get back to sleep. I'm tired. I'm hungry. I could easily have put off the scripting and put off the recording and just messed about with something else. But I ignored that feeling in the moment and just did the thing. I ignored it on Wednesday and I'm ignoring it now on Friday. And okay, this is different, right? I'm recording this from the comfort of my home. The heating is on. It's nice. I've got a cup of tea. It's much easier for me to do this than it is for you to go out and get your workout done. But it's the same principle. It's just committing to doing something and then making it as easy as possible for you to stay aligned with that action and ignoring what you might be feeling in the moment. And as I keep saying, I'm nothing special. I've just trained the skill and you can train it too. There's a concept called activation energy, which is relevant here. And it's the amount of energy we need to get going with our projects and with taking value aligned actions. So sometimes we're energized. We don't need much. You will probably notice this if you're someone who struggles with consistency when it comes to your training or maybe nutrition or maybe something else that you're working on. You probably find that sometimes it's quite easy to get going, but other times you face resistance and you need to power through. And that's why cultivating discipline is so important, because as you know, if you have listened to anything that I've said or read any of my emails or content or whatever, you will know that I believe that consistency is the number one determinant of success. This is why the number one principle of the Mind and Matter method is sustainability. It's why all of the guys who previously struggled with all or nothing, being all in, all out, making progress and falling off, make so much better progress and thrive when they work with me, because everything is built and designed around them that allows them to stay consistent and makes it sustainable. You can cultivate those skills and you can cultivate that level of consistency as well. And the way to do it is just by starting now, not putting it off, starting now and starting small. Do one thing this week better than you did last week. One more workout, one more healthy meal. Don't wait to see how you feel in the moment. Just say you'll do it and then do it. In the episode called Your Smartwatch Sucks, I said that if you don't train because your Fitbit told you it was time for a recovery day, you're not going to make it. Why did I say that? Well, because that implies that you're looking for any reason not to do the thing. If you say, yes, I will try to do that, unless there are external circumstances outside your control, which I acknowledge is the case. Like if you're saying, yes, I'm going to try and get my workout done on Wednesday lunchtime, but if my boss puts a meeting in my diary, I won't be able to do that. I totally accept that. But if you're saying, I'm going to try and set my alarm and get up for 6 a.m. and then go to the gym, assuming that is within your power, just do it. Otherwise, what you're really saying is, I'll see how I feel. And which of us realistically wakes up at 6 a.m. on a cold, dark February morning and thinks, I'm really excited about getting out of bed and the warmth of my house and getting outside in the cold and the rain to go to the gym and be surrounded by people who are training and the shit music going on and the lights are really bright. Nobody. The difference is all those people in the gym have not said, I'm going to see how I feel in the morning. They have just committed to doing the thing. And that is discipline. And you can build that too. Because sometimes you just need to get into the habit of doing the fucking thing, whether you feel like it or not.